So what we're going to do is actually construct a line graph in Excel and in Python. So we're going to do both. For this one, it turns out Python is just way easier. But we can do a line graph, a time series figure, both in Excel and Python. So what you can do is run over here. So if you've already downloaded copy prices, you can just load that. And just like with all of our exercises in class, you want to keep things organized. So we have our folder. I'm keeping this on the desktop, but for today, we're going to call this part 1.3. So we have a nice subfolder. Let's keep this organized. And then in the subfolder, we're going to take the monthly copy prices and just drag it in. I'm going to rename this just so it's nice. And then we can open this. So the first thing we're going to do is create a line graph in Excel, and then we're going to do the same thing in Python. Okay. So first thing to do is to save as, so we don't lose our figure when we create it. All right. How many of you are set up with your file system, your part 1.3? Hands for that. That is not the rousing support I'm looking for. Y'all ready for an exercise? It's good to talk about the concepts, right? Like, we need to think about why we're doing the things that we're doing. There are lots of choices we make when we work with data, but a big part of what it takes to actually be good at this stuff is just lots and lots of practice. So we're going to practice creating a line graph. Anyone know the first step here? What do we do to create a line graph? Yeah.
I can guess.
Let's guess.
Would you highlight the two columns and then go to insert?
So this is a great guess. It turns out to be not quite right. Funny enough. Remind me of your name? Matan. So Matan was saying, let's highlight the date and the prices, which if you were just jumping into Excel, that's what I would do first. In fact, when constructing this exercise, that's what I did. Turns out you can't do it very easily that way. The way to do it is to just select price. Date is already in sequence. So we're going to select just price. We're going to go to insert. And I think very similar to Matan's recommendation, we're just going to create a line graph with simply price without the date. So I'm going to click on this, and it'll create a line graph. Pretty nice. So we have price, and we can see it's a line, so it's definitely showing us the entire sequence, and it's showing us the repeated observations connected through time with the line. And we can just change the title here, call this maybe coffee price. And maybe we'll leave it there for now. Just call this copy prices. What's wrong with this figure? Yeah.
The X is just way too confusing.
Yeah. I mean, when does the data start? I can't tell from this figure. When does the data end? Also can't tell. The horizontal axis, as we've constructed it, is meaningless. It just gives us the sequence. Remind me of your name?
Matt.
So Matt is saying, let's make the horizontal axis better. It turns out Excel just doesn't have a nice way of making a line graph, a time series, straight out of the box. What we have to do is double click on the horizontal axis to give us some options, unfortunately. So all I'm going to do is just double click on, I'm going to right click on the horizontal axis. And there's this, this select data option when you right click on the horizontal axis. So we'll just select that and it brings up these options. Unfortunately, like we have to do all this, as far as I know, to create a line graph. Sorry, a time series. You'll drop down here, you'll see horizontal category axis labels. So all we have to do is select this, which then is asking for how to label the horizontal axis, and then we select the date column. And then I hit enter, hit OK, and then we have dates. Okay, any questions here? Luke. So Luke's wanting me to do this again. So what I'm going to do is right-click on the axis, select data. How many of you are there? Oh, hands higher. I need to know. Okay. And then we're going to select data, which gives us this option. We don't want another line. What we want is to label the horizontal axis. And I'm just really surprised how complicated Excel makes this. But we're just going to select data source. Are you not seeing that? Maybe it's different on Windows. And you're not seeing an option for selecting.
But it's like there's an edit column where you can just edit the category.
Okay.
So what I did was I just clicked edit, and then I clicked like these things. I just clicked date.
So there's apparently, I'm not familiar how to work with Excel on Windows, but I guess there's an edit option for the axis.
Yeah, it says like axis label.
You just hit
And then, yeah, you just add B. So if you're on Windows and you're having some trouble here, reach out to someone next to you. And this is one of those cases where it's good to be talking to the people around you. So if you figured it out, help someone out next to you. And if you need help, have someone help you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
And then you can resize this. There are lots of ways to continue. Lots of ways to continue sort of playing around with the axis labels. It still doesn't look great by default for some reason, but this is at least a way of doing a bit of time series visualization in Python. Any other questions here? Thankfully, we don't have to mess around with Excel forever. Python is much simpler for these kinds of things. So I'm going to save this. This is a reasonable figure, but it's not great. In fact, the date is the first axis label. Lots of things we could improve here. We've at least gotten in the ballpark of a nice time series figure. But I'm going to exit out of this. And then I'm going to hop over to our exercises. So we have our coffee prices data set. What I want to do is plot this as a time series. Seaborne, our main visualization package, makes this very easy. Anyone have a guess about what we write? Yeah, Chase?
Joe.
Joe, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So the SNS.line plot.
SNS.line plot. And then what will we do next?
We'll put in our X and Y features.
Okay. So I'm going to put in the price data first. And then our X, let's use, so we have prices. I'm going to use the date column. So we'll use date. And then what would we use for y? Our vertical axis? Yeah, the price. Yeah, so we'll just use y is equal to price. All right, and we'll run this. And I think this is a much nicer figure. It gives us pretty nice horizontal labels for time. So we don't see a lot of individual months on the horizontal axis. There are things we could definitely do to improve this figure. What would be something we could do to make this figure better? Should we add a title? So what we're going to do is just define a title. So Seaborne doesn't give us a title option. We use matplotlib. So we've already imported matplotlib as PLT. So we're just going to use that. Just like my favorite joke. My friends in college called me Little Tay. We're going to call matplotlib PLT. So PLT and then title. I'm just going to say coffee prices. And then that'll add a title. So we're just programmatically defining what we want the figure to spit out for us. Lots of other little things we can do here. You want to hear another nickname? My friends called me Tay-Tay, which unfortunately got co-opted by another tailor who maybe more people have heard of. Right? Tay-Tay? Yeah. Maybe? I guess you just got engaged. Okay, so nice figure. Any questions about this? Some other things I might do, you don't have to make your figures wonderfully beautiful to be good at effectively communicating what you're trying to communicate. But some other things I might do, you can take out date and price, I think. We already know that the horizontal axis is date, so in some sense, date is just redundant. And in the interest of making our figures as simple as possible while still communicating everything, I would probably take out date. So we could write plt.x label, and then just tell it to not say anything on the x label. If we run this, it'll take out date on the horizontal. I do this a lot, actually. And then I think price is also pretty clear on the vertical axis, although this one's a little bit more controversial. So we can say plt.y label, and then take that out. We've already said that we're talking about prices. But those are more controversial, I would say, especially the last one. So that's up to you. Any questions here? Nice. So lots of things we can do with our figures, lots of little operations we can perform to make our figures better. But this is the basics of a good time series figure. On the horizontal axis, we want time. Vertical axis, we want the price or the value that we're measuring. And then we want those points connected through time with a line. All right.